There's nothing quite like seeing a brutal elbow landing cleanly on an unsuspecting fighter's jaw.
Oh, what a shot from one! Spinning elbow!
From the Muay Thai ring to the MMA cage, here are some elbow KOs that will leave your jaw on the floor.
Love those spinning shots. There it is, Jimmy on cue. Walk off.
Take this first one, for example. If you haven't watched Muay Thai before, you won't realize just how well these guys use their elbows. And with a strike that compact and hard-hitting, any fight has the possibility of ending in a split second. And this guy just never saw this elbow over the top coming.
And the elbow! And that's going to be the end of the fight.
Brutal work. Getting that perfect KO is all about lulling your opponent into a false sense of security and then springing the trap at the ideal moment. Watch how the fighter in red engages here, with his in and out movement masking his true intentions. Once he finds the opening, he jumps into range, but instead of boxing, he spins at the last second, unleashing this insane elbow strike, causing one of the cleanest knockouts you will ever see. But trust us, we're far from done here. How about something a little different next? Back before he was making millions of dollars and flirting with a career in politics, Conor McGregor was a rising prospect in Cage Warriors. And even in his youth, his striking was becoming feared. So much so that his opponent, Steve O'Keefe, wasted absolutely no time in hunting for the takedown. But if he thought that was a good idea, he was wrong. Once Conor found his moment, he began unleashing brutal elbows to the side of his opponent's head, causing the KO. Maybe those would have been handy in there with Khabib, but I guess there are levels to this. Want to see one of the single greatest MMA KOs of all time? Well, we gotta give a mention to this absolutely beautiful shot from Anderson Silva. He was already beating the brakes off of Tony Freaklund for most of this fight, using those legendary knees to sap all of the energy out of his target. But when Silva decided to really pull the trigger, it was a beautiful sight.
Dominance here as champion. Reverse elbow.
A bizarre reverse elbow was probably the last thing Freaklund was expecting here, and Silva didn't even need a follow-up shot to know the fight was done. This one is just pure power on display. As soon as his opponent realized what he was walking directly into, it was already way too late to do anything about it. The spinning elbow was delivered with such force that it nearly took his head clean off. That's not the type of shot you walk through. Doesn't matter how good your chin is. Gaston Bolanos is about as famous for his mastery of the spinning back elbow as anyone who utilizes it in combat sports. And the sheer speed that was on display here makes this KO a real blink and you'll miss it kind of shot.
Spinning back elbow, caught him square.
This dude eventually made it to the UFC and MMA, but his real best stuff was found when he didn't need to worry about wrestling and submission defense. This is world-class striking at its finest, folks. Quick thinking and insane physical power were the name of the game with this one. And even though you all likely saw it coming the second he overextended, his opponent had absolutely no idea what was about to hit him. And when it landed, it sent a shockwave through his entire body. These split-second elbows truly do come out of nowhere sometimes, and when it came to this fight, there was absolutely no foreshadowing of what was about to happen. Just one fighter who had the ultimate equalizer up his sleeve, and eventually, when his moment came, he lashed out with a brutal elbow and absolutely destroyed his opponent's chin in the process.
Oh, he is. Oh, and he got him. Set the elbow up and he rocked him.
Sure, the victim wanted to stand up and continue, but his race was run. There's no doubt about it. There's always going to be a debate over whether 12-6 elbows ever should have been banned from most MMA organizations. But no matter how you feel, watching this insane knockout from Gary Goodridge back in the early days of the UFC is plain nasty. Goodridge caught him in this inescapable crucifix position, and after a split second, he realized that he was in the perfect position to absolutely brutalize him with elbows. Yeah, this is just on a different level.
Goodridge went pounding to Herrera's head with those elbows.
Boy, that was fast.
Wow.
That was short and sweet.
There's nothing like watching two vicious high-level Muay Thai guys going at it up close and personal. And in this case, it was obvious that neither man wanted to get the judges involved whatsoever. But what we didn't expect was to see a devastating upward elbow like this landed with such brutal precision. Seriously, could you imagine how painful that would be if it landed on your chin or on your nose? Yeah, that's the type of collision that'll mess you up no matter what, whether it's a clean KO or a broken nose. We're kinda cheating with this next one, but wait and see how it plays out. The initial exchange here was pretty grueling. Constant pressure, big volume, and you could hear just how much the crowd are appreciating the action on display. But eventually, only one of these men are going to be left standing. And sure enough, it's an elbow that basically ends the fight. He was going down anyway. But in that moment, his opponent decided to seal the deal with a head kick finish that was totally impossible for him to block in his condition. Lawrence Larkin is without question one of the most underrated strikers of his era. A truly dangerous and dynamic fighter who just didn't make the type of impact in the UFC that he had hoped. But his run in the Bellator was even more violent, and you could see just how lethal he is at any range when he finds his opening.
You're right. Right by Larkin, mamma mia!
And there was no denying the KO here. Larkin found his moment and scored the walk-off. Seriously, if you want to do yourself a favor, check out this guy's highlight reel. He does some absolutely wild stuff in the cage. What's the best counter for a spinning elbow? Well, in this case, it's another spinning elbow. Who knows if using this technique as the perfect counter was intentional or just a coincidence. But you won't see a picturesque knockout like this in 1,000 fights. He basically used his opponent's momentum against him in a brutal fashion, landing the shot as the first spin ended, which basically netted him one of the greatest knockouts you could ever imagine seeing. But we're not just dealing with strikes on the feet. No, the elbow is one of the most versatile weapons in combat sports, capable of doing damage no matter where the fight is taking place. Some absolutely mean work in the ground and pound department from Corey Anderson comes in next. Could you imagine a worse spot to be in than with this hulking former UFC star on top of you? Once he smelled blood, it was only a matter of time before the finish came. And what better way to finish things with one of the greatest comeback KOs you will ever see in combat sports. The fighter in the blue seemed to be running out of options. He had just suffered a knockdown, and his opponent was confident that the kill shot was coming. Well, as it turned out, he was right.
Here we go, can Valentine finish it?
Oh! What a shot from Wen!
Spinning elbow!
Only he didn't know that it would be the comeback of the century that brought it about. A 10 out of 10 KO.
Wow! Unexpected and unbelievable.
What an unbelievable finish that was!
But what do you think is the greatest elbow knockout of all time? In any combat sports, MMA, Muay Thai, anything. Do let us know in the comments section below before leaving a like and a comment, plus subscribing so you don't miss any of the deep dive videos we release each and every week.